I want to share with you something personal, something real. It's about living with bipolar disorder, a condition that dances between the extremes of joy and despair. Imagine waking up one morning, feeling like you're on top of the world, energy coursing through you like an unstoppable river. You're invincible, brilliant, ready to conquer everything. You dive headfirst into projects, lose sleep, and talk a mile a minute. Those thoughts, they flood in all at once. And in those moments, I create, I dream, I plan, but then, just like that, the tide turns. It feels almost like someone flipped a switch. Dark clouds roll in, heavy and suffocating. I'm pulled into a pit so deep, it feels as if the walls are closing in around me. Simple tasks become insurmountable. Showering? Too overwhelming. Getting out of bed? A monumental challenge. I sink into silence, trapped inside my mind, lost in a whirlpool of despair. During these transitions, the erratic behaviors emerge. Sometimes I lash out at those I love, frustration spilling over, projecting my internal chaos onto them. I know it's unfair, but in that moment, I just can't see a way out of the storm. Other times, I throw caution to the wind. I go on spending sprees, giving in to a temptation to chase that high, to feel something, anything, above the numbing darkness. It's a reckless gamble, a way to escape the haunting shadows clinging to my thoughts. Have you ever felt that desperation? That need to be understood? It's as if I'm living in a world where my heart and mind are at war. The highs feel like a breath of fresh air, but they mask the weight of the inevitable lows. I become a stranger to myself, oscillating between the person I am and the person I fear I might become. Sometimes I'll experience bursts of creativity during these manic phases. It's exhilarating. I write poems, compose songs, craft stories filled with raw emotion. I feel like I'm channeling energy from the universe itself. I create art that is vibrant and alive, but in the back of my mind, I know this is a fleeting moment. The beauty feels tainted, knowing the darkness looms closer. Then comes a day when I can't paint or write. My thoughts feel like chains, dragging me down. I wish I could tell you I always manage those transitions gracefully, but truthfully, sometimes I self-destruct. I push people away, I isolate myself, I forget that connection is the lifeline I need. The phone sits silent, friends begin to fade in the periphery of my world. But there's hope, too. With each cycle, I learn a little more about myself. Therapists, support groups, open dialogue, these are my anchors. I'm discovering coping strategies, finding ways to express what I feel before it spirals too far. I've begun to build a toolkit of resilience. I learn to identify triggers and establish routines, grounding myself in the mundane to remind me of the stability that can exist amid the chaos. I'm realizing it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to be vulnerable, to share the messy reality of my life with those I trust. Each story I exchange with others living similar struggles reveals connections that remind me I'm not alone. Each conversation chips away at the stigma, painting a fuller picture of what living with bipolar really means. So when the highs come, I embrace them, and when the lows hit, I remind myself they too shall pass. I'm not defined by my disorder. It's part of my journey, a chapter in my story, but it doesn't write the whole narrative. To those out there feeling the whirlwind, I see you, I hear you. Know that erratic behaviors are only part of a larger picture. There's depth to our struggles, there's beauty, and there's strength in vulnerability. Through this journey, we can find clarity, connection, and perhaps even a touch of light amidst the storm.